Okay, good evening, team. So, today we are going to learn about the tools used by the business analyst. The tools are like Balsamic, Azure, and MS Visio, Azure RP, and MS Visio. So, these tools help business analysts to visualize their ideas and process in the systems clearly. So, instead of writing everything in words, we can go through the diagrams, wireframes, and prototypes so that everyone, like clients, developers, testers, can easily understand the requirements, whatever the client need. So before going to learn these tools, just we need to know what is the role of a BA, right? So what is BA and how the BA is working? So a BA acts as a bridge between the business team and the technical team. So their main job is to understand the client needs or business problems, and whatever the requirements gathering by the business analyst, they will make a design of the requirements for to understand for the developers what to develop and where which part we want to develop first, and according to their requirements the business developers will implement the project, right? So whatever the requirements gathered by the BA, those requirements will be going through that modeling those requirements into visual representation. So like mockups, prototypes, UML diagrams, images, charts, flow charts, etc. So this will be done by the business analyst. So today, as of now, we will learn about the Microsoft Visio. So for today we can learn this MS Visio, and for tomorrow we can learn that Balsamic and Azure RP. Okay. So MS Visio is used to create UML diagrams. So this is a tool that helps business analysts and designers to create visual models of the system, like process and workflows, flow charts, and the process maps and the software structure diagrams. Everything they will both we can design through this MS Visio tool. So UML, what is mean by UML? Unified Modeling Language. Unified Modeling Language is a standard way to visualize and design software systems using diagrams. So it's like a common visual language that helps BA and the developers and testers to communicate clearly about how the software should work. Okay. So in these UML diagrams, we are having with 9 diagrams totally. In those 5 are static and 4 are dynamic. What is static means? What is the static diagram defines? So this shows the structure or blueprint of a system, like how parts connecting each other. Like they don't show any movement. They can only show the blueprint, like a sketch. We can tell it as a sketch. So these static diagrams and dynamic diagrams, it will be getting an clear idea while I'm explaining you the diagrams in the tool MS Visio tool so that you can understand clearly. Okay. So the 5 static diagrams you are having with like use case sequence, class activity, component state chart, package collaboration, and deployment. Coming to dynamic, what is dynamic diagram means? So these are used to show how things work or happen step by step in a system. For example, so when you are going through an app or website, you can perform actions like you can click the buttons and you can fill the forms, you can send the request, and you are getting a response from your actions, right? So in this way all of these movements and the interactions are part of the system behavior, and that's what the dynamic diagram will show. Okay. So as of now, I will explain you use case diagram from static and the activity diagram from dynamic, so that you will get a clear idea about what is static and what is dynamic and what are the UML diagrams we are going to design, and you can get a clear vision about that. While and also I will explain in those diagrams so that you can get a clear idea about all those. Okay. So coming to use case diagram. Use case diagram shows how users interact with the system, like what actions they can perform. Like it's created from the user's point of view. Okay. So in simple words, we can say like it show who uses the system and what they will do with that system. For example, you're going to open an web application or anything in your mobile or a system, you can go through, right? So whatever you are interacting with that mobile or the system, it shows like it shows in the use case diagram how you are interacting with that system. Okay. So this will come under that use case diagram. And coming to activity diagram, an activity diagram shows the flow of actions or the activities that happen inside the system. So whatever the inputs you are giving to the system, for that inputs, how the system is responding, we can see through that activity diagram. Okay. So it is shows like from system perspective. And coming to sequence diagram, a sequence diagram show how messages are passed between different parts of the system over time. So it's mostly used by developers to understand the technical flow. So it is like a timeline showing who talks to whom and what is ordered during a process. So as a BA, we could not prepare those sequence diagram, but to know the concept, what is meant by sequence diagram, just to know the concept, we are telling about that sequence diagrams. Okay. So as of now, we are learning that use case diagram and activity diagrams as a BA. And coming to use case diagram. Use case diagram, it shows the different people interacting with a system and what kind of activities or the services that system provides to them. Like who uses that system and what they do with that. As I told you the example, right? You're interacting with your mobile or the web applications in systems. How you are interacting with the system. It will show in this use case diagram. Okay, the components of this use case diagram is actors, use cases, system boundary, and the relationships. So, in actor is nothing but an actor is a person or the system that interacts with an application. So, I will these actors are we are having with two types like primary actor and the secondary actor. Primary actor like one who starts or initiates a process. So, for example, here we can take a e-commerce application. Let us think like we are going to search the products or add to the cart. The products we are adding to the cart in Misho. We can go through that Misho. So, as of now, nowadays everyone is aware of that Misho. So that I'm explaining you about that Misho. You can understand easy way. So here, primary actor. In e-commerce application, the customer who is purchasing products through online will interact with the system. He will be the primary actor. So here the person is involving with the Meesho application and he is searching the products in that application. So here the customer is involving interacting with the system. So who is interacting with the system? They will come under primary actor. Okay. So and secondary actors will support for the primary actor, and it helps the system work but don't directly start. uh, for example, whatever the inputs you are giving, like you are going through Meesho application, you are searching for the products and you are adding products to the cart, right? So while you are adding to the cart, the data, whatever the data you are giving, whole the data it will store under the database, right? So here the database helps to store all the inputs given by the primary actor. So here database will come under secondary actor. Okay. So coming to use cases we are having with like use case is a simply a task or activity that the actor performs with the system. So we are having two types of use cases here. One is essential use case and the second one is supporting use case. Essential use case is nothing but the main functionality we are doing. Whatever the main functionality we are doing, it will show in essential use case. In the supporting use case, like whatever the main functionality we are doing, in order to complete that main functionality we are using some details to complete that main functionality, so it will come under that supporting use case. So team, whatever the use cases and primary actors, whatever I'm explaining now, it will be a clear vision for you while I'm explaining in the diagram. So please be concentrate, okay? For essential use case, I will take a example for you. Yes, for essential use case, as I told you, you're going with a Meesho application, right? To start a Meesho application, to open that Meesho web link, like you're registering to that application, right? Here the registration is a main functionality that you are doing, and the supporting use cases, like whatever the details you are giving to complete that registration, like a username or mail or a password, whatever details you are giving to complete that registration, it will come under the supporting use cases, okay? So this is the difference between essential use case and the supporting use case. Coming to system boundary. System boundary is separate the actors and the system. So I will show you in the diagram what the system boundary will do. And the relationships. Relationships we are having with three types, like include, extend, and generalization. Relationships show how different use cases connect with each other. Like as I told you, the essential use cases and supporting use cases, right? So here, the relationship between the essential use case and the supporting use case, like include, what it will show the relationship between the essential and supporting use case means. So we are, as I told you, while registering to an application, we are giving the inputs or the details. So whatever the mandatory details we are giving, it will show, include will show that relationship between the essential use case and the supporting use case, that the mandatory details to complete that main functionality. And the extent, so extend will be useful like in optional things, so we can use it or we cannot use it. In optional situations we can use this extend. Coming to generalization, so we are having to complete a main functionality we are having multiple options, but to complete that main functionality only one option we have to choose. So it will come under, in that situation we can use that generalization. So whatever the relationships I am explaining for you, like include, extend, and generalization, it will be understood in the diagram, okay? So as of now, in theoretical part, you may get some confused, so that I when I'm explaining the diagram, the UML diagram, so that you will get a clear idea about that, okay? And coming to activity diagram. So activity diagram, it represents a flow chart, or and it represents a workflow, like how we are working, how the system is working. It will show from systems per, perspective. So here the components of activity diagram are like start node, action state, and control flow, and the decision box, and fork and join, and we are also having with the branch and merge in this components, and lastly end node. So what does the start node do? Start node represents with black circle, like it will, we are using that start node in the initial state, like where while starting the flow chart. This is a starting point that we are using that start node. So action state, it will be symbolized like rounded rounded circle. So whatever the action we are doing, we can show, we can able to see in that action state. And the control flow connecting between one state to another, like whatever the things we are doing, whatever the actions we are doing, it we can represent from how one action is connecting to the another action. We can able to see through that control flow. And the decision box, we are using these decision box in yes or no conditions. We are to complete a process, we can use that yes or no conditions, right? So in those yes or no conditions we can use this decision box. And coming to branch and merge, so coming to branch and merge, whatever uh, we are using that actions will be splitted into multiple things. So as I will show you in the diagram how we are using that branch and merge. Coming to fork and join is a control node that splits flow into multiple concurrent outgoing edges. Like as we are while an application is going on, we are using the flow is splitted into splitted like parallel actions, like whatever the actions doing in parallel. To show that parallel actions, we are using this fork and join. And coming to end node, we use it this end node the in the final steps. Like after completing of that all the flow chart, we can show that the flow chart is ended by using this end node. And coming to sequence diagram, a sequence diagram is a UML diagram that shows how objects or actors in a system interacts with each other in a time sequence. So, so for these diagrams are mainly used by the software developers and the business professionals to understand the requirements of a new system. So sequence diagrams, it will show the three-tier architecture, like it will include the presentation layer and business logic layer and the database layer. So for as of now, we are having an example about that sequence diagram. We can go through this. Here is an ATM transaction reference diagram for us to go to know clearly about this sequence diagram. So here we are having with user and ATM and the consortium and the bank. So the user is interacting with the ATM. The ATM displays the main screen for the user. So it will show like to insert the card while user want to debit some amount. ATM will show insert the card for the user. So here it is displaying the main screen for the user, and user will insert the card to that ATM. So after inserting that card, ATM will show to the user request for the password. It will request to the user to give password, whatever the password is having to that card. And after sending that request by the ATM, user will enter his password, his or her password they will enter. After entering that password, the ATM verifies the account by sending a request to the consortium. Here, consortium, what is meant by consortium means a network service that connects to the bank. So the consortium, it will connect to the banks. Whenever the user is entering the password, ATM will send the request for the consortium to verify these ATM card and the password, the bank details, to inform that to check the bank details. So after ATM sending verification request, the consortium will verify through the bank, and the after searching to the bank will show like it is a bad bank account, means it is invalid account. If the account is invalid, then it will show it is an invalid account. It will reply to the consortium that is invalid. And after that, from the consortium confirm that it is an invalid account, and it will show the same response to the ATM. So while the consortium sending this response to the ATM, that is a invalid account, so the same response the ATM will show to the user, that is an invalid account. So check your account again. So this is a process like how the sequence diagram is showing, like how interact user is interacting with the ATM and how ATM is responding to the user and the internal process of the ATM. So this is the total structure of the sequence diagram. So are you getting what I'm telling now? So this is the whole thing. And in three tier, as I told you, it will show the presentation layer, business logic layer, and database layer, right? So how we are observing that means in this user, in this example, the user is interacting with the ATM, right? So it will come under the presentation layer, and after user interacting with the ATM will respond to the consortium. So how ATM is giving request to the consortium, it will come under business logic layer. So the internal process will done in some logically, right? So that it will come under that business logic layer. And how the consortium go through the bank and to verifying the bank account, it will come under the database layer. So this is how the sequence diagram is going through. And so this is a interface of an UML diagram like MS Visio tool. This is the interface of an MS Visio tool. So here we are having with features, UML components and canvas. So let me show you how the MS Visio tool is there and how we are going to draw those UML diagrams like use case diagrams and the activity diagrams. Okay. So team, this is a page while we are opening that MS Visio tool. This is a page we are getting, like it will show how many models we are having with like UML model diagrams. It will show and brainstorming diagrams we can go with, and the model diagrams and the audit diagrams. It will show these kind of options, like how many diagrams we can go through this MS Visio tool. So as of now, we are going through that UML model diagram so that we can go with that use case diagrams and activity diagrams. So this is the interface of the MS Visio tool. So these are the features we are having with like files to edit and to insert some inputs and to resize our page. And these are the components we are having with like UML activity diagram. These are the types of diagrams we are having with. So here it will show UML activity diagrams, UML collaborations and UML components, UML deployment, sequence, state charts and the static structure and the use case diagrams. So these are the types of diagrams we are having with. So as of now, we are going with the use case diagram. So in this use case diagram, as of now, I am using the components like use case and the actor and the communication line to show how the actor is communicating with the use cases. And the relations like extend, inter, include, and the generalization and the system boundary. So these are the components I am using to complete this use case diagram. Okay. Team, just give me a minute. So these are the components we are using. So as I told you, there is a system boundary for us, right? So this is the so this is the system boundary we are using. Like the it shows how the system and the actor separates. Okay, and here the system name, as of now I am giving e-commerce application. Like we are going through that example, like from starting onwards we are going through that e-commerce application, right? So that I am using e-commerce application to get a clear understanding for you. E-commerce application. So team to complete a web application or the to complete a process we are going through registration, right? From to like if we want to enter to the Meesho or the Flipkart, first we are going to the registration part. After completing of that registration part, we will go through the login and the home page. In that home page, we are going to search the products, and if we want to purchase the product, we are going to add the products into the cart, and later we are going to the payment process. And also after that completing of the payment process, we will go to the order confirmation. So this is a process how we are going through in that e-commerce application, right? So to start your process, we are going through registration. So as of so that I am taking registration here. So this is, as I told you, use cases are the two types, like essential use case and the supporting use cases, right? So this is the essential use case I am taking that shows the main functionality to complete. Here the registration is the main functionality. So while we are giving double click on it, we can retype that name for that use case. Like here I'm giving this is the essential use case, right? So that I'm giving registration to complete this main functionality, registration. So for this registration, we need supporting use cases. Without having these supporting use cases, we can't complete that main functionality, right? So for that, I'm using supporting use cases. So as I told you, supporting use cases or like the details, whatever the details we are giving to complete that main functionality or the essential use case. So the registration, to complete that registration, we need mail, name, phone number and password, right? So here in this use case, I'm renaming it as username. And for this, I'm giving password, and the other supporting use case I'm using with email. So as of now I'm giving email, right? So that I'm not using phone number. Instead of that phone number, I'm giving like any nickname. I'm going through any nickname, right? Okay. So we are taking that essential use case and supporting use case, okay. But how we can show that they are related to the relationship between that essential use case and supporting use case? As I told you, in relationships we are having the three types, like include, extend and generalization, right? So for this registration, I am giving username, password, email and nickname. So in this, what are the mandatory things to complete this registration? So the mandatory things are username, password and email, right? So this will, for this mandatory things, we are using include. We are using include relationship to show those are the mandatory things to complete a main functionality. Okay, so you can click on, double click on this so that it will duplicate. Control D, it will duplicate. So for these three, I'm giving it is an include. So these are the three details mandatory to complete that main functionality. And what about nickname? Nickname we can give, that is our wish that we can give that nickname or not. It is an optional thing, right? So for that optional things, we are using extend. Okay. So for this nickname, to complete that main functionality, nickname is an optional thing. So that I am giving extend. So how to identify this include? What is the difference between include and extends means? The include, the arrow will show towards the supporting use case. In the extend, the arrow will show towards the essential use case. Okay. So this is the difference. You can find it easily. So this is the way how we are going through that registration to complete that main functionality, how we are using that supporting use cases. So we have done with the registration. After completing of registration, what we will go through? We can go through that login, right? So I'm taking login. So here login is the main functionality, that is an essential use case. So further the supporting use cases like details, I am taking. So for login, what are the supporting use cases we can go through? So for login, we can go through username and password, right? So I'm renaming it for the use supporting use case, username and password. So team, can you guess what is the relationship we can give for this username and password? So for login, for username and password, we can go through include, because without having this username and password, we can't complete that login application, right? So these are the mandatory things. So that I am using include for these supporting use cases. And also I'm using another supporting use case that I show, that is forget password. So here for the login application, I'm using username, password, and forget password. Here, username and password are the mandatory things. We cannot complete that login application without having username and password. And what about forget password? Forget password, it will come under extend, because see, always we cannot go through that forget password, right? If we forget that password at any one time, so that we are using optional for that, so that I'm using extend here. So this is the include I'm giving for the username. And for forget password, I'm giving extend here. So this is how the login application we are completing by the using that supporting use cases. So here the login, the main functionality is done. After completing of that login, we are going to that home page, right? So for home Here, homepage is a main functionality. And for that homepage, I am using the supporting use cases like, so while we are searching the products, we are going to add the products to the cart. Otherwise, we can add them to wish list, or add we can filter the products, right? So for homepage, I'm using the supporting use cases like add to cart. I'm renaming the use case to like add to cart. And another supporting use case I'm using like search product. And the other use case we are using like wish list. If we like the product, then we are going to add it in wish list or the cart, right? So this is how I'm giving the supporting use cases for the home page. To complete that home page, we are using that supporting use cases. So so can you guess what are the relationship we can give to complete that home page? So to complete this action, we can use extend, because whatever the products we are searching in the in the home page, we want if we want to buy that product, then only we can go with to the add to cart. Otherwise, if we like, if we want to take it again, then we can add it to the wish list, right? So these are the optional things we are having with. So there is no mandatory like searching products. We are if you are searching the products, it is mandatory to add to cart, right? It is not mandatory to purchase. It is our wish. Either we are purchasing it or we are adding to the wish list, right? So that I'm giving extend to this application. So as I told you, we can see that extend by giving arrow towards the essential use case. So this is how I'm completing this application. And after completing of that homepage, after that we searched for the products and we have added a product in the add to cart. After adding to the cart, what is the next step we are going to do is payment, right? So to complete that payment, so here the payment I'm using, it is an essential use case. The main thing we need to the here for this payment process, the payment is a essential use case, right? The main functionality to do the payment, right? So for the payment, so we are having options to complete that payment, like UPI we are having, and cash on delivery we are having, and we can also complete that payment process by using that credit cards and debit cards, right? So here, whatever the options we are having, like UPI, cash on delivery, and the credit cards, they will come under these supporting use cases. Okay, to complete this payment, we are using these three supporting use cases like UPI and cash on delivery and the credit cards and the debit cards. Okay, so these are the supporting use cases I am using to complete that main functionality. So here, can you guess whatever the relation we can use it here? We are having, as I told you already, we are having multiple options. But to complete these multiple options, complete this payment process from these multiple options, we can use only one option to complete that payment. So in that situation, what relationship we can use? So to come to show this relationship between the payment and the UPI, what are the options we are having? We can use the relationship like generalization, because as I told you already, whenever we want to complete a main functionality, the supporting the details whatever we are having, we are giving multiple options. From that multiple options, we need to select only one. So it is having only one access to complete that main functionality. So in this situation, we are using that generalization, right? So here for this payment process, I am giving generalization. So how we identify that generalization means, so here we can go with the extend. So while you are giving double click on it, it will get like, it will show you the name. We can as I told you, we can rename it, right? So here it will show you stereotype. We can change the stereotype. So here you will be getting a empty space. You can select that empty space and se- click on OK. Then what is the difference? How to identify it means, for include, as I told you, it will show the downwards to the supporting use case, and here it is renamed as uses. And for the extend, it will show the name extend. But generalization, for generalization here there will be no name for the generalization. The empty arrow we can show. Uh, so that empty arrow means it will come under the generalization. Okay, so that we can easily identify it is a generalization. It is having no name. It is an empty arrow, so that it is a generalization. So for the three options, we are using generalization, because any one option we will select to complete the payment, right? So that I am giving generalization for these three supporting use cases. So this is how the payment is completing by selecting one option. And after completing of the payment, what we are going to do? What is the next process means? Order confirmation. We need to confirm our order, right? Is it confirmed or not? We need to check it, right? So to confirm that order confirmation, so here order confirmation is the main functionality. So it will come under essential use case. Order confirmation. So for this order confirmation, I am using the supporting use cases like email and SMS. So to confirm that our order is to confirm that order is done or not. So we are getting the mail and we are getting SMS in our mobiles, right? So this is how they will come under email. They will come under that supporting use cases, like we are getting email and SMS, right? Through that email and SMS, we can confirm that our order is successfully completed. So for this, the relationship I am using is for order confirmation. See, while we are confirming that order confirmation is like we are getting email and SMS at a time. It will be done parallel actions in the same time. It will get right. So the two are mandatory. So in these cases, we can use, as I told you, we can use it as include. So I am giving include relationship. For the both supporting use cases, I am giving include relationship, so that those two are mandatory to confirm our order. So this is the way how we are going through that Misho application. First, we are doing that registration. We are completing that registration part. Here is the registration is the essential use case. that is a main functionality, and the details like username, password, email, nickname, whatever the details we have used, those will come under the supporting use cases. So after that completing of that registration, we go through that login, and we have gone through that. After completing of that login, we have gone through that home page to search our products and add to cart. After adding to cart, we have gone through that payment process. After completing of that payment, we have gone through order confirmation. So this is how we are completing the application. So here how actor is interacting with the system. So as I told you, actors we are having with two types, like primary actor and secondary actor, right? Sorry. So primary actor who will interact with the system, they will come under primary actor, right? So this is the actor. I am renaming it the actor as customer. So the customer is interacting with the system, right? How this customer is interacting? Like he is giving the details, registration details. He's first going to complete that registration part. So to show that relationship, we are using how customer is doing interacting with that system, how he is giving inputs. So to show that, we are using communication line here. So this is the communication line that we can use to show how uh, how the customer is interacting with the system. So after completing of the registration, the actor like customer will go through login. This is how I'm showing how the actor is completed that login and how he is going to the home page and to complete that search products. After that completing of searching products, he will go through the payment process, right? See, the communication line we have to give from hand, okay, hand to that application, okay. And after completing of that payment, he will make sure that order is confirmed or not. So this is how the primary actor is interacting with the system. Okay. And what about secondary use case? Secondary actor, sorry. Secondary actor. What about that secondary actor means? As I told you, secondary actor will support primary actor to complete that application. So here the secondary use case I am taking as, I am renaming it as database. So I already told you, whatever the inputs we are giving to the system, the inputs will store in the database, right? So here the database is supporting to the primary actor to complete that functionality or the application. So this is how we are connecting. By using this communication line, we can show how the database is storing. Like, see, whatever the inputs here, customer giving inputs like their details, how the details are storing by the database. This is how the relationship, like how the primary actor is interacting with the system and how the secondary actor is supporting to the primary actor to complete that main functionality. And so here the actor, the actor, primary actor and the secondary actor, we are showing. And for login, whatever the details giving for login also, it will store on the database, right? So to complete this login application also, database is supporting for the customer. And also homepage, whatever the products we are adding to cart, it will store in the database, right? So that it is come under secondary actor, will support to the primary actor to search the products and add to the cart. And what about payment? So while the customer is doing the payment, the secondary actor involves like payment gateway. I'm renaming it as payment gateway. Okay. Why the payment gateway? What is the difference between database and payment gateway means? So to complete a payment in our application, we want to complete that payment. So we can go through like we are using UPIs, and also we can use the credit cards and debit cards to complete that payment, right? So while you are entering the UPI ID or whatever the cards you are using, whatever the details you are giving about the cards or the UPI, so the process, in that process, the payment will send this application to the banks to search whether the details are correct or not, whether the cards or the UPI is valid or not. So it will send to the another application like to the banks, right? So after completing of that verification, bank will send to the payment process that the credentials or the cards or the UPI pin is valid, so that then after confirmation the payment process will be successful. So here for that purpose we are using payment gateway but not the database. Okay. So this is how I'm connecting with the payment gateway tool. Okay. And order confirmation, whatever the order details we are getting, those also will store in database. Okay. So I'm giving communication line. This is how we can show how the details, order confirmed details will store in the database. And also, if you're feeling that the diagram is clumsy and the whatever the communication lines we are giving, they are passing through that supporting use cases or the essential use case, so that we can click on that communication line, we can give right click so that we are getting an option like right angle connector, so that while we clicking on it, it will be set right like this. Okay, it will show in clear vision. Okay. So this is how we are completing that use case diagram to complete a application. Okay. So here we have used all the components like primary actor, secondary actor, and the boundary class, and the essential use cases and supporting use cases and the relationships. Okay. This is the whole diagram how we have completed that web Visio application, how we are going to register, how we are going to log in, and how we are going to home page, and how we are completing that payment method, and how we are confirming that order is done. So this is the way how we are designing a web application. So here the BA will send this, the BA will show these type of diagrams for the developers, so that their developers will get a clear vision how to implement. First the developer will understand like I need to complete that registration, to complete that registration I need to use these details. So this kind of, in this way we are designing a application and showing to the developers. Okay, this is all about the use case diagram. And if you're if you have understood clearly about this use case diagram, so that I will move to the activity diagram. So team, confirm me, is everyone clear about that use case diagram, so that we can move to the activity diagram? Just confirm me, team. Okay, let us move to the activity diagram. So to insert, to go with the diagram, activity diagrams, I am taking a new page. So how we are drawing this activity diagram is, so firstly, as I told you, what is activity diagram? It shows the flow of actions or the activities that happen inside the system, right? So we can focus like, so it will focus on the system work, as I told you. So how the registration is doing. We can go through, as I have told you in the use case diagram, how we are going to complete the web application, right? So the same examples I'm taking here to get an clear idea for you. Okay. So first I'm taking for activity diagram, I'm selecting activity diagram option, and the components we are having, like as I told you, the components like start node, that is an initial state. This is starting node. It will show as dark circle, and the end node we are using, and the fork and join, as I told you. So these are the fork and join we are using, and the decision box, and the control flow line. So as I told you, how the control flow line will show the action state between one action to another action, right? And also action state, that whatever we are doing the action, it will we can see, able to see in this action state, whatever the action is we are doing. So for registration, how we are doing activity diagram for the registration. So I will tell you. So to start registration, I am giving start node, and action state I am using to show the registration. We are going through registration. To confirm that, I am using action state, so that in this action state I am renaming it as registration. Okay, here I'm showing it is an in action state. I am giving it is an registration. We are going through registration, and the control flow, it shows how it is going through one to another, like from starting node, how the action is going through. From starting to registration, it is showing the flow, it is showing, right? After completing to complete that registration, we are using the supporting use cases like username, right? So that I am giving username, password, email, and the password we need, right? So here in this I'm giving like name. username, email, and the password. So these are the action states we are using, and we can show that by using this control flow line, we are showing that how one action is continued to the another action. So this is how we are completing the registration process. So after giving the password is correct, then we will get registration completed. So the action state I am giving, registration done. Registration successful. Okay, I'm using control flow to show that after giving password, registration is successful. So this is how the control flow will show. And after that, I am using final state, that is end node, to show the registration part is completed. So here for the registration part, I have given the start node. After that, I shown that registration. To complete that registration, I have used username, email, and password. After giving the details, the password is correct, then the registration will be successful. And after I'm giving the end node that the registration, to show that the registration is completed successfully. So this is how activity diagram showing in the system mode. Okay, and the activity diagram I'm showing you now is for login. Okay, for login also we are taking the initial state, right? That starting node we are taking start node, and the action state we can write it as login. Here I'm doing login. So for to show that login, we are giving password, mobile number or password. Okay, here I am renaming it like mobile, or I am giving like password, so that we can do we can complete that login. So while we are giving password, maybe sometimes we can forget that password. So it will give password is wrong, right? So in that conditions, whenever it shows the password is wrong, then it will be redirected us to again the login page. Okay, so I'm showing the password in yes or no conditions by using decision box. Okay, so I have given this password, right? So I'm using now decision box. So it will show why the decision box we are using in yes or no conditions. Okay, I'm giving the control flow to show how the action state is connected to one to each other. So if the password, whatever the password we are giving, if it is correct, then the login will be successful. And so to show that yes or no conditions, we can use the guard condition. What is mean by guard condition means? So we can write it here like in whether the condition is yes or no. We can write them. So I will show you how to use that guard condition. So here I'm giving right click on the I'm giving double click on that arrow so that it's giving me name and the guard expression, right? Here I'm clicking on checkbox for the guard condition. So after selecting that guard, we can type it here in this body. We have to write either the condition is yes or no. So I'm writing it here yes, clicking on OK so that it show the condition is yes. And for here, I'm giving the guard condition as no. So that if the whatever the password we are giving, if the password is correct, then it will show the login is successful. Login successful. So this is how it is showing. And if the password is wrong, then it will be redirected again to the login page, right? This is how we are using the decision box in this type of conditions. Okay. And I'm giving end node. So why? Because we have done with the login success. So that I'm giving end node. The login is completed. So this is how I have done with the registration and the login page. So here, so now I am going to show you, as I told you, the components like branch and merge and fork and join we have used, right? So to show that I'm taking another page to show you branch and merge. And for branch and merge, I'm taking with the payment process so that it will be understood for you in easy. Okay. So to complete the payment process, first we need to give starting node. Start node and the action state, we are taking that payment process. Payment. And to complete the payment, we are having three options, right? Like UPI we are having, UPI, cash on delivery, and the cards we are having, right? So I'm renaming them as UPI, cash on delivery, and the cards. So here, these are the three actions we are splitting. To complete the payment process, we are having three options. Through any option, we can go there to complete that payment process. So here I am showing them as the actions are splitted into multiple diverges. They are dividing into multiple. So to show that they are divided into multiple options, I am using here decision box, and here I am giving control flow line that it shows from the starting point we are going to the payment process, and for payment the options here divided into multiple splits. They are divided into multiple splits. So these are dividing into multiple splits, right? So that it shows the branch and merge condition. So now it is divided into multiple splits. So while we are doing the payment, the output will be the same, like the payment will be done successfully either which option we are using from these three options, whatever the option we are selecting, the payment will be completed successfully, but we are using only one condition. The output will be the same, like payment is done successfully, right? So here I'm using merge condition because there the output will be the same. So this is how we are showing branch and merge. So what is branch and merge means? Whenever the actions are splitting into multiple, so the starting point of the actions dividing into multiple, where the actions dividing into multiple splits, so the starting point will show as branch, and where the divided splits will join together and giving an output. So in that conditions, it will show it is merge. So the whatever the actions divided into multiple splits, they are joining together at the end at the merge point. Okay. So this is how we are getting completed that payment and confirming that order is done successfully. order confirmed. Okay, this is how we are using that branch and merge. In this type of situations, we can use this branch and merge. So order is successfully confirmed so that the process is done successfully, so that I am ending the process. Okay, this is how we are using that branch and merge. So now I will show you the fork and join component, how we are using, how we are showing that component in activity diagram. Fork and join. So fork and join. So whenever the actions, multiple actions, splitting into multiple, like I will show you. So I'm starting initial state, I have started, and I have given the action state like order details for the to confirm how we are confirming that order is confirmed, how we are confirming it, because email and we are getting email and SMS, right? So that we are confirming that the order is done successfully. So to show this order details, order is confirmed, we are getting email and SMS, and see here the email and SMS we are getting in a same time. It won't be getting after coming that email after 5 minutes we can't reach that SMS. The SMS and the email will done in the same time, right? So here the actions are happening in parallel. So while we are using these fork and join means, when we are using these fork and join means, the parallel actions do happening in same time. To show that parallel actions we are using this fork and join. Here we are confirming the order by getting orders through email or SMS, right? Here I am using for, this is fork, like how it is showing, it will show how the parallel actions are doing at a time. Action state I'm giving as SMS, because we are getting SMS, right? And also we are getting email. So I'm giving here email. So these are the both actions completing in parallel. At a time we are getting. We won't get in different times, right? So the whatever the actions completing in at a time, single time. So in that cases we can go this fork and join to show that kind of situation. So this is how we are joining the SMS and the email to show in this fork and join. And after getting the SMS and email, we can confirm that order is successful, right? So SMS sent successful. Is sent. So this is how we are using the fork and join. Okay. and we have confirmed that order is placed successfully. So that I am closing this. Here I am closing. By giving control flow, we can show that it is ended to here. So this is how we are using the components in the activity diagram. So I have used for the action state and the starting node and the end node. Here I have used the components and the control flow. In this login page, the components I have used like decision box and the guard conditions we are using at that decision box. Okay, and here in this, here I have used the component like branch and merge, that it will show where the action source splitted into multiple times, and the starting point of that multiple splitted actions it will show as branch, and whatever the actions are getting joined at in one place and getting with a single output. So in that conditions, we are using this branch and merge and the fork and join the parallel actions to show the parallel actions completing in this single attempt. So to show that kind of situations, we are using this fork and join. So this is how we are drawing the use case diagrams and activity diagrams to show the developers uh, how the how the customer or the actor interacting with the system, to show that we are using use case diagram, and the how the system is responding for the user, it will show through the activity diagram. So this is how we are using this